Good evening and a warm welcome to the Smuggo and G show. We are now proudly sponsored by Senef Coins on the Mr. Arsenal podcast. So welcome to the channel, Senef Coins. And I'm welcomed by two great guests tonight. Now, sadly, and I say sadly, I've lost my right arm tonight. Sadly, G's not well. So obviously we wish her all the very best and hopefully she recovers. She is actually in Italy next week for the Arsenal Champions League game as well, so we won't have her for a couple of weeks now. But what I do have is two absolute fantastic guests. So going to say good evening to both. So good evening, Andy, mate. How you doing?
Evening, evening all. And just kind of quickly say, get well soon, NG, because he's going to be like a lost soul tonight, bless him. All good. Looking forward to the show. So yeah.
Good man. And good evening to Mr. John Brooks, Gooner himself. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, mate, yeah. And just saying, you've still got your left arm, so you'll be all right with that.
Yeah, I've got my left arm. I've got to be honest, I do feel a bit uncomfortable. But it just shows you how long I haven't done a podcast on my own. But yeah, well, I'm sure I've got you two guys, so I'm in a good situation and a position. But yeah, and obviously a warm welcome to everyone who's obviously joining us already. Let's have a quick browse into the chat. Oh, we've got a few good already. So good evening to Catherine. Hope you're doing all well over in the States. She was looking forward to G's rant. That rant Ryan said was going on. Sadly, you're not going to get the rant. But I'm a few more rants out of these two guys, definitely, over the course of the evening.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening to Canterbury Gooner, mate. How you doing? Recovered after yesterday's 1-0 defeat. Hopefully you have. So, yeah, this fire away, guys. What we're going to do, we are going to cover off the women's side first. So, it was Manchester United versus Arsenal, 12:30 kickoff on Sunday. It was a game where obviously Arsenal had that space now, hadn't they, from having an international break coming into a new dawn as such. Obviously, we haven't got a new manager yet, but obviously we've got the manager overseeing stuff at the moment. Andy, I know you watched the game. Sadly, I didn't get to watch it, and I know John didn't watch it. What was your thoughts on the team selection and the overall performance of the game? Because we drew 1-1 by all accounts. Yeah. We should have and could have won the game, but got sucker punched by a header, and both teams shared the points.
Yeah, but having said that, it was a very good performance by us, right across the board. That sharpness was back. We looked like there was a bit more zest about us. Winning tackles, being first to the ball, so all the signs were superb, and then the game itself, as it panned out, we were just firmly in control for nearly all of it, in fairness. And when we got the goal, which was a great goal, it was well deserved. And at that point, we kind of looked like we were still going to kick on again, but then not finding the equaliser. And you're always open to that kind of sucker punch, and that's exactly what happened with another headed goal from just outside the 6-yard box, free header. How many times are we seeing this?
Yeah.
Let ourselves down left, right and centre.
I know, obviously, especially over the international break as well, Leah Williams has, I wouldn't say come under massive criticism, but has come under the scope a little bit in terms of her overall general performances at the start of this season. How did you feel she fared on Sunday?
Yeah, Leah played well. Not outstanding, but she played really well. My big issue with Leah at the moment is that she's forgot to defend.
Yeah,
basic defensive duties are not happening. You know, if you're a skipper and you're the centre back, and we keep conceding headed goals with no real challenge going in on that, you've got to start thinking, well, hang on, who's organising who here? She's the lead person. She's the captain. She should be the one leading by example. But you don't see her going winning headers. And you know, it's the ugly side of the game. But ultimately, she's a centre back, and we all know she can defend when she puts her mind to it. But ultimately, the heading is becoming a real concern, because teams are aware of it now, and they're just pumping balls in there. And we give away so many free chances from headed positions. It's getting to a point where it drives you mad.
Do you feel that potentially maybe looking ahead? I know obviously don't want to look too far into transfer windows and all that kind of stuff, but do you think another centre back coming into the club at some point could support that, someone aerially?
But I think my frustrating personally is that Lotta doesn't play more.
Yeah.
Because she is the one that actually would take ownership, and she'd go in there and she'd challenge for it. But she's the only one that has got that kind of defensive aggression about them, especially with balls in the air. So physically, it is where we lack. But you know, it is a frustration, and they need to get over it quickly, because it's all well and good playing really well and manning games the way that we did. We played Man U off the park, really did. They were superb. Don't put teams to bed, and then these things are going to happen.
Sorry, Andy. I've got to have a little nibble here, mate. I've got Gavin, who's a Chelsea fan. Message 4-0 in 20 minutes. London is blue, Liam again, Liam. Mate, you're playing a bunch of animals, ain't you? Noah.
Noah's Ark, yeah.
They're probably building the ark, mate. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, congratulations on a 4-0 lead. You certainly won't be getting out of the game on Sunday. I can assure you that.
I hope not.
Yeah, let's hope not. I suppose the other thing as well, good to see Russo get a goal. Obviously against a former team as well, which is always tastes a little bit sweeter. How was her performance overall?
Yeah, she was excellent. Another one. She just seems to have that extra half a yard of sharpness at the moment, and she's playing with real confidence. And I think because it was Manchester United, the old team, she wanted to make sure she left a statement, and she did. She was superb. Hold up play, tracking back, closing the ball down, and great finish in the end as well.
Yeah, I think we spoke about last week, didn't we? That we wanted to kind of get into the box more and score more goals. And I think moving forwards, it'd be good to get someone in who's going to play to her strengths, but also have a team around her that's going to kind of fulfill her with them kind of opportunities and scoring goals.
Yeah.
I've always, as I said last week, I've always felt with her, and she's got a good all-round game. But sometimes she's the one delivering in the box, and you're thinking, I wish Russo was in there. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think there's still obviously a bit of work to do, isn't there, within the team? We know that. In terms of new manager, nothing major's come out, has it, since, in terms of name and all that?
No, it's all been very quiet.
It's taken a long time,
nothing at all. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was quite interesting. We say that, John, we was talking about last week that Arsenal Arsenal were the same without Arteta, though, weren't they? Like when you think when Emery got dismissed, it took over a month, didn't it, for the process to get through? So I wonder if there is there a process that they work to at Arsenal that obviously they need to make sure they go through holes to make sure they recruit the right person as such. So don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but apparently as well they're looking at someone. There was someone in America, but I think potentially we could be waiting for their season to finish.
Yeah,
So yeah, obviously looking ahead, Andy, do you feel that after that performance as well that we can look forward to getting the team back to where they can get to? And I guess at the moment, when you start looking at the point, how many points we're behind, I think just finishing the Champions League spaces this year would probably be a good achievement at present, wouldn't it? I don't want to be too overrealistic, because when you look at Chelsea and Man City and you look at seasons gone by, and like most teams have only lost a game to win the league, we're on a hiding for nothing already, really, ain't we? In terms of challenging for the title. Yeah,
without doubt. There's kind of a side of me though when I watch us play, whether it's defending or attacking. Again, you're going back to like your captain or your leader. Who's the one who's going to start saying to players, if you played in a youth team with Kevin Campbell and what have you, even if he was missing a few chances, you start to get it in, because obviously you're creating them and that's what they're for, and they're there to finish. We've got nobody nasty enough in our team. We miss a chance and we just kind of jog back. Everything's fine. No one says a word. There's no nastiness within the team. When I look at all the other teams, like the Chelsea's, they've got a bit of kind of a ruggedness about them. We're just a nice team.
Yeah.
And I think that, Katie McCabe is probably the one fiery character, but she's not going to win your head, win your balls in the box and stuff. But it's the girls are on the brink of something really, really good, because you could see that in the performance. They're right on the brink of it, but there's just something missing. And whether it's just they're just a bit too nice with each other sometimes. There's nothing wrong with giving each other a rollicking on the pitch from time to time. It does us all the world of good,
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So it just sometimes needs that. I don't know whether Kim Little is that sort of person or not. I don't know. I don't see that kind of personality amongst them that's going to kind of pull them together and go, right, enough's enough here. Start winning your tackles, start winning your headers, start putting these chances away, because come on, that's what we're here for. And there's nobody in that kind of has got that kind of nastiness about them, I don't think, at the moment.
No, because it's quite interesting, like you said, Kim Little. Like I look at the two players that I think who would dig out in that team is probably Kim Little and Katie McCabe. But sometimes is it enough? Do you know what I mean? Like to have them, like, is it enough? Like, sometimes you want a team that's competitive, don't you? Like you want about 6 or 7 people at the very least in terms of kind of leadership, but kind of like you say, digging people out. Like if you continuously, it's not a problem missing a chance as long as you don't continuously miss. And it has become an example, hasn't it? Throughout, I think the team especially probably over the last 6 months, that I think they've just been going through the motions as such. And I think it's needing someone to come in now to probably pick up the morale, pick up the spirit, but also be having them kind of having them conversations with players and maybe challenging other players in terms of what are you doing to bring to the team? Where are you in terms of challenging players on the pitch and that kind of stuff? Because it can't all be left down to the manager, can it, at the end of the day? And like you
need someone on there.
Yeah, and like you said, like looking back to when you played, there'd be a selection wouldn't accept that kind of level of football.
Yeah, you got your standards, and it's Arsenal, for God's sake. And the chances that we create, especially with the women, we create chances galore, and we haven't got that clinical finisher, but we haven't got that person who's going to go and grab over them by the shirt, rag them by the shoulders, and like, come on. There's not that person there, that personality, and I think that's my frustration with it at the moment. It's my personal opinion. It's probably. But they just need someone to really pull them together, because they are genuinely, when they play, they're such a joy to watch, and they're on the brink. They're like on the precipice of really big things. But to get over that, you need them personalities sometimes to help you drag you across the line. Sometimes. Yeah,
you do. And as I'll keep saying, like I think this is a time now where we're going to start seeing probably with a new manager coming in. Probably a bit of a different style to play, but I do think when we come to the end of the season, I do think that we will see quite a number of people leave the club. And I think even maybe Kim Little, this might be her last season, which, do you know what I mean? If it is going to be her last season, and like we don't know that yet, but it is a potential thing that you want to kind of leave on a high, don't you? After the kind of service she's put in for us and the performances that she's put in year in, year out. We want to do at least something special, don't we? Like whether it's in the cups, whether we do kind of bat one in the Champions League as high as we can get in the WSL. But there's still goals and targets, isn't there? There's still scope to have that good season.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get themselves on a run. They need a back-to-back win to kickstart, and then from that point, momentum can take you through. They could start steamrolling teams if that belief is there, and that willingness to work for each other, and don't be afraid to dig each other out from time to time. Stop being nice all the time. Must be a lovely team to play against. And that's not what you want. No,
it's definitely not what you want. I'm just going to bring something else to your attention, and I know obviously John will get involved in this one. Obviously the Champions League game against Bayern Munich was planned in for Wednesday, the 17th of December, or 16th of December, one of the others. But it's basically planned in. It's been planned in the diary for a while now at the Emirates for that game. Now, I've got my own personal opinion on this in terms of when this fixture got announced. Surely the club at that point would have known that this was a Carabao Cup week. Because they would have known everything that was in the kind of diaries and everything. And I'm just on the bit of the scope in terms of when you get to a quarterfinals or a Carabao Cup, you can potentially get a home game, can't you? And the high percentage is that you're going to get a Premier League team by that point in the quarterfinals. Also, that we know that when you get to a quarterfinal, you could get a Man City, you could get an Aston Villa, you could get a Chelsea, for example. or you could get a Manchester United. And if you get one of them teams at home, they're already playing Thursday night the week before because they're playing in the UEFA Cup and the Conference League. So naturally, their next game would be a Sunday, which then naturally would mean that if they got into the Carabao Cup and they'll play again, they wouldn't play till a Wednesday. I don't understand why this fixture was booked in for that day, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I just think that someone should have foreseen like a situation like this arising, and I just think it's made it a bit embarrassing, ain't it? And I feel like it's made it a little bit now that obviously the women's supporters are going to be really disgruntled about it because, and I know G's one person who had planned to come up from Plymouth to travel up to that game to watch the Arsenal versus Bayern Munich game, and now that's basically scarpered all her plans with work and that kind of stuff. But I just think that someone should have foreseen this, knowing the calendar and knowing the fixture list and knowing how the Premier League works in terms of like fixtures and all that, and how Sunday fixtures work and how Wednesday fixtures work. Wouldn't it be best off from the get-go, Arsenal liaising with UEFA and planning that Arsenal Bayern Munich game on a Tuesday night?
Yeah, it's a big old cock up, isn't it? Really, someone's made a big old boo boo. I do get it, but yeah, it's not been the best. They say poor old G's, but it'd be coming all the way up from Cornwall, and they haven't really thought about the fans in that respect. No one seems to know where they're going to play it. Apparently, it's got to be played on that day because of the Juventus game, and they've got to be played at the same time. And apparently, am I right? I think Meadow Park isn't UEFA efficient or something. So I don't know where they're going to play it. I mean, is there no way they could play it before the Arsenal Palace game? I presume not. There's the logistics of that. As far as I know, there's no chance that could happen. Is there really? They should have changing rooms. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a big old.
What's your kind of thoughts on it as well, Andy?
Yeah, I think it just seems like a bit of an oversight, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, it's ludicrous to be potentially in that position. Yeah, a bit embarrassing, really.
Are we saying, because obviously I see last night, but I've been pretty busy today with other stuff, but are we saying that the fixture has been announced for Arsenal Palace for it to be Wednesday the 16th?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they got announced yesterday, and I think it goes on to ballot Friday, tomorrow, I believe. I could be completely wrong. I'm sure I see that somewhere.
I'm glad you told me that, mate, because I need to be looking at that myself. But yeah, like I just, it's a massive oversight, and I think this is one of the problems, isn't it, when you're committing to something so big, that with the logistics of, and let's be honest, with the extension of the Champions League now, if you're successful in all the cups, and as you're seeing the Arsenal men now, apart from international weeks, they're pretty much playing twice a week, ain't they? Does this make it really awkward to basically commit to saying to the Arsenal women's team that you're going to play every game at the Emirates?
Well, it's a massive decision that the club need to make, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, I guess the logistics of I've got all sorts to weigh up, I guess. But yeah, it's a club decision, isn't it? I think.
Mr. Arsenal podcast saying should have kept. This is one situation I thought might happen. To be fair, I've noticed that the Premier League and Sky have done this previously with especially Champions League games, that they've moved fixtures, didn't they? So they've said that they're playing on a Saturday night, but then they've decided to move the two fixtures and roll reverse it. So I thought potentially maybe that they would play the Arsenal versus Crystal Palace game on the Thursday night, put the Tottenham and Man United game on the Wednesday night, and then move Arsenal to Sunday. But like you say, it's a lot of loops, isn't there, to go around, and it's trying to make it work, isn't it? But I do think at the moment, like, I don't want to say it's gonna wedge a divide, but it is gonna bring some disgruntlement, isn't it, to obviously the women's fan base, because obviously they've been they've been promised that obviously all Champions League games will be at the Emirates, and if this is not being played at the Emirates now, because of this reason, it doesn't bode well, does it?
Yeah. Well, what I will say, and this might go down quite badly, but it's all very well having Champions League game in the Emirates, but they had one, was it the other week, and they got like 5,000 fans there. I was like, hang on, I thought it was supposed to be all singing or dancing. So I was a bit disappointed with that. I'm not going to lie. If they're going to use our ground, you'd think they'd sell a few more tickets.
Do we think as well, saying that, because it was interesting, I see that, but even the Chelsea game at the Emirates, are we saying that basically because of the manager situation and the fact that I think they were a bit demoralised, weren't they? That I think there has been a bit of a dip, isn't there, in terms of the attendance this year compared to last year?
Yeah, because I think you can until he decided to fall on his sword, you could kind of pick up on the tension around the place. You know, there was a lot of negativity in the support and decisions that were made from the manager and things. So that discord was there. So, yeah.
Just Catherine saying Meadow Park doesn't meet the UEFA standards at present. They're talking about potentially a game could be played at Brentford or the Stadium MK. I can see that it being played at the Stadium
really?
MK. But it doesn't really give Arsenal a home advantage, then, does it? Let's be honest.
No.
And yet again, it's expecting the fans to travel up even more. And if you're someone like G, who's already travelling from Devon to London, then to expect her to go and travel to Milton Keynes,
they're taking a mick of over there. They can't over there. It's got to be in London, surely.
It would be even more. But a controversial decision, obviously, around that. So yeah, going to be an interesting one. But going on to that, I will discuss quickly the cup draw. So Crystal Palace at home in the quarterfinals. An interesting draw, isn't it? Because obviously we got them 3 days later in the Premier League, Andy. But isn't it, when you looked at that draw, you probably would have hoped that out of them, probably Brentford or Southampton, when you're at home, would be seen as the winner or winning draw for us.
Yeah, I guess in the ideal world, without doubt, yeah. So they got the tie that we hope for. You know, it's a massive game as well. This is a potential trip to Wembley, you know, and a trophy, because, you know, that's the thing that's getting thrown at us all the time now, and it's quite right. You know, we've turned the corner. We've got this amazing football team at the moment, but we're nothing to show for it. So this is a massive chance here.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And when you think about the semi-finals, finals are like in January and February as well, we can get the squad fit for that point. When we do we got to beat. Obviously, we got to beat what's in front of us first. And let's be honest, yeah, right. Crystal Palace can upset the apple cart. We know that they can go. They're one of them sides that have always gone away from home and beaten big clubs. They're probably going to bring 6,000 to 8,000 fans to the stadium. And we know they're notorious for having a good atmosphere. So I think it's going to be a really good night. And I think it'll be a good game of football, to be fair. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Just going over to you, John. Obviously, me and you, like, kind of down from that way. You from Biggin Hill, me from Croydon. It's a big one for us too, isn't it? We don't want to lose this game.
No, we won't be able to leave the house. No, yeah, there's quite a bit of pressure on us. But yeah, as Andy said, you know, you wasn't sure. You know, it's a good time to have London derby. You've got to be confident we're going to get through. It will be hard. I mean, Nketiah hasn't done anything for Palace yet, so you know what could happen. But yeah, I mean, as Andy said, there's a few Arsenal fans I spoke to, and they sneered at the Carabao Cup. Oh no, I'm not worried about that. Just win the trophy, get the monkey off Arteta's back, off some of the players' backs, and then once they got the taste of success, you hope they can kick on for the end of the season. I think it's massively important. I really do.
And do you think John will play a full strength team in a quarter final?
Let's see if he doesn't, mate. In his shooting, surely. I mean, the way it's going. I mean, the run we're on at the moment. I mean, God forbid it could get any worse, but the pressure could be well and truly on him, mate. And yeah, I just don't see how he can't. I mean, obviously, injuries dependent. I know it's obviously right before the busy festive period, so he might have to. But yeah, I think he's got to go for it. I really think he has.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking ahead before we go over to the men's side, the women's game. We're playing tomorrow evening at 7:00. Brighton at home. Confident for the 3 points, Andy, after that Man United performance?
Yes, I am. But let's not forget they've had a really good start to the season, Brighton.
Yeah,
they're ahead of Arsenal, aren't
Yeah, they're off. They're third.
So in fact, I think if we win tomorrow, we don't even get past them. I think it puts us a point in behind them. Is that right? Or somewhere close. So it's a must win. So let's hope that they can build on the performance against Man U, really tighten things up, especially defending crosses. And let's hope we can go on to let's get ourselves on a massive run, because they can do that. They could easily go 15 games unbeaten, win them all. They've got it in them to do that.
Yeah, they have, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's getting that first win under the belt, isn't it? And then just moving on from there. Like, I think this is another tricky banana skin game, for being totally honest. And it's massive, isn't it? Like you said, Brighton on the crest of a wave. They've won 4, drawn 1, lost 1. So they've had a really good start of the season. They're going to smell that we're not on fire on all cylinders, but I think that Manchester United performance will probably hold us in good stead. And yeah, I do think it's a banana skin, but I think we'll win it. I'm going to go for 2-1. I think we'll win it, but I think it's going to be another tough game. Just going on to the men's side now. I'm not going to go into both games individually. I've decided not to, because
it's too depressing.
It's too depressing, and we're probably going to discuss the kind of same things overall. So, what I've decided to do is kind of have a bit of an open forum about it in terms of the performances of both games. What I would say is that even though I was off yesterday evening and I was dreaming with Ryan, and I said that I probably said to everyone that I don't feel that we've done the business that we should have done in the summer to push us to the next step. When I kind of reflected today, I actually thought the performance yesterday, the overall performance was. What kind of knocked me though was certain players' performances that continue to be kind of the same. And obviously I identified 3 or 4 players yesterday, Martinelli being one, Trossard being one. Yep, Trossard being one. Gabriel Jesus. And probably asked to bring him involved in it, but I'm going to bring him involved, kind of Zinchenko as well. But yesterday I did feel was a better performance. Like Newcastle for me was a tragic performance. I just feel that Newcastle outjawed us all over the pitch. Got the early goal, and then knew what they needed to do, and we didn't have an answer to it. Yesterday I felt a bit aggrieved. I like on both penalty decisions. They could have both gone either way. And when you're going through this kind of rut, and when you're going through this kind of, I want to say a bit of bad luck as well, because I think we have had bad luck as well, but we're also bringing our own bad luck as well into the equation. We didn't deserve to lose that game yesterday. I think if anything, we probably deserved to win the game. But it was the same old situation, wasn't it? We was putting loads of balls in the box, but there was no one in the box to header it. And as you said, Andy, rightly before we started the show, the Inter Milan defence had a really good game, but I thought we made it quite easy for them in terms of what we was trying to do. And we could have, we would still been putting crosses in now, 24 hours on, and we wouldn't have scored a goal. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to go over to you on this one first, John. How did you feel for yesterday's performance was from Newcastle? Did you feel there was improvement? And where do you think this leads us for Sunday against Chelsea?
Yes, it was a big improvement, because Newcastle was just rubbish. There's not much about it. It was really, really poor. Last night was much better. We looked a lot more threatening, attacking wise. I mean, Saka and Martin did put some good crosses in the box, but as you said, there was no one really in there attacking it. Havertz has gone off the ball a bit. Again, this is why I've desperately said we needed a striker, and I've been going on about it for God knows how long. You know, lessons learned from last year. It still hasn't, we lost to Newcastle 1-0, no cutting edge. Bayern Munich away last year, Champions League 1-0 away, no cutting edge. It worries me that he hasn't learned from last season. We all said it, we've been unlucky. We needed a striker to score the goals last year, and we still do now. I know Havertz has done well, but he's papering over the cracks. Martinelli, I love the guy, but he's, even I'm starting to see why everyone's banging their head against the wall. He runs and he goes back. It's just, it's just it's almost as if he's run out of ideas. Saka always whacks the ball in, but it's just they did play well last night. I mean, Havertz had that chance, and the defender made a brilliant block. He had another chance when the keeper made a good save. But what I will say with the penalties, you get punched in the head and you don't get a penalty. It's ridiculous, and that stupid handball. I can't understand why. Oh, it's not a penalty in the Premier League. Oh, but in the Champions League, it's different. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and you see why people get frustrated. But they did play better. It's just bloody annoying.
It's interesting you say that because I'm very much with you. Like that first half, apart from they when they had that chance in the first minute when they hit the bar, Inter Milan did nothing. Inter Milan literally done nothing that whole half, and they got in our box for one set piece. And I couldn't even have a go at Marino because usually I'd be like, "Oh, what's he doing that for?"
No.
What is it? But he had no chance of getting out there. Someone's saying he's a natural position. He's not in a natural position. What is a natural position when you're defending or you're trying to put a block in? Do you know what I mean? Like Andy, you can tell me probably more than anyone. People saying he's not in a natural position, but he's putting his body on the line. Like he can't do anything else than what he's doing with his hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Decision was just crazy. But in fairness, though, Liam, I actually don't even understand the handball rule anymore. No. So when I played and it was so crystal clear what the situation was, there was no question really. We've confused the whole issue now and all with all this, body position. Is it natural body position? It's just like, oh, for Christ's sake, it was so easy to say last night that that was just a complete accident. Mm-hmm. He had no chance. The ball's
where's his hand supposed to go?
From a yard away. His hand was up there just because from his momentum from the jump. It's like, what's he supposed to do? It's just. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous rule.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like you go down at half time, and I'll be on the stream, and I was saying, this game finishes 1-0. I know how this game plays out. We get all the ball, and I don't want to say I'm a bit of a know-it-all, but you just know what's going to happen. And I think I said to Ryan, right, we're going to go in the second half. We're going to have all the ball. We're not down, and then Inter Milan are going to celebrate like they won the World Cup at the end, and that's what basically happened. Like. I did find it a little bit cringe of Inter Milan, to be fair, because like I always looked up to Italian, and I think it's because of the era I come from. I always looked up to Italian sides as being very superior and all that. And I just thought, like yesterday, maybe it's a little bit of a compliment as such, but I thought the way they celebrate at full time, I just thought, mate, that's not how Inter Milan would have behaved like 15, 20 years ago. Like they just played like that for 90 minutes, and they're celebrating like they won the Euros. It didn't sit right with me whatsoever, but I knew what was coming. And I suppose that's the piece at the moment, isn't it? And I'm going to go to Andy on this again, because obviously, like you said, John, in the summer, even before the summer started, I remember, Andy, we were on a show where we was identifying players that we wanted. And obviously, one of the names you mentioned was the Greek lad from Sporting Lisbon. Now he's on absolute fire, as we know.
Greek.
He's sorry.
Sweden.
Sorry. Yeah, Swedish lad. Sorry. Total mistake there. But yeah, obviously you mentioned the guy before, and he's obviously scoring a lot of goals. Now my issue is that we haven't gone and brought this guy. My issue is that we haven't gone and brought anyone, and we haven't identified the areas that we all spoke about. So when we was talking about this on the back end of this show, back in May time, it would have been May, start of June, we identified left wing, we identified striker, and we identified centre midfield. Now, we kind of made a bit of business with Moreno, but it was nowhere near this conversation in terms of the level of player that we thought we'd go for. But are you very surprised that we didn't do any business with them two positions, left wing and up front?
Is that me, Liam? Sorry.
Yeah, yes, you, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. I think my biggest worry is that Arteta's stubbornness is undoing, because there just seems sometimes like he's quite belligerent. It's almost because he's getting asked the question a lot, and he's almost becoming he's almost fighting against it now. And I just think there's a stubbornness with his team selections anyway, and I just worry about his stubbornness actually coming back to bite him in the backside a bit later down the line, because we all know that a number 9 is exactly what we needed. That could have been another maybe 8 or 9 goals this season, which points go to 3 points. Not getting beat, maybe it's going to a point. They're massive, you know, and we're a team that will create chances. And our play is so one-dimensional at the moment that you know, it was so easy to read and to play against.
Yeah, it is, and that's the frustrating thing for me. Like we put in the same performance against Newcastle last year as what we've done this year. Do you know what I mean? So for me, we haven't learned nothing, and we're in the same situation. We're in a worse situation this year because we are in a worse situation this year already. Because the amount of points we are dropping, and like the red cards have really not supported that. And I do feel that the red cards have really disturbed our style of play. And I think we've gone into this mindset that we need to just defend at all costs. And the writing for me was on the wall at Brighton. I couldn't believe how negative we went when we went down to 10 men at home. Now, I totally get that we was 1-0 up, and I totally get that we're probably thinking we need to hold on to this game. But we literally got out of our half once or twice in that whole second half once that red card got given. And then the writing was on the wall even more when Gabriel went off injured against Liverpool. Like Kivior come on, and I just felt again the total mindset of the team just changed, and they just thought they had to do it again. And I think there's this bit where we think this is going to be a bit critical what I say. I think there's this little bit right where I think we probably think we're a little bit better still than what we actually are defensively. Because if we was that good, we wouldn't concede, but we are conceding. Do you know what I mean? We did concede against Liverpool going defensive. We did concede against Man City when we went defensive, but I totally get the Man City one. We did concede against Brighton when we went defensive. We did concede when we went to Brentford and went down to 10 men and went defensive. So and I just look at other teams here, right? And I look at Man City and I think Man City would never do that. Man City, if they went down to 10 men, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't play like that. They would still go out and try and attack the teams and try and win the game. And I think that's a flaw at the moment. I really, really do. And we've had a long time to get this squad right now. This be fair, we've had a good. And I know he done a really good job in the first 2-3 years. Sorry, not the first 2-3 years, because obviously we blip. It weren't a blip. It was just awful. But once we went into 2022 season, 23, we exceeded all barriers, didn't we? We probably exceeded again last year. But I felt that, and this is not a criticism at Arteta, this is more is it an FFP problem, is one of my questions. But if it isn't, I don't think Arteta's been back properly in the transfer market. If he gets you into 2 second-place finishes and competes with Man City last year to win the title, to win the title to the very last game, I think he deserves much better than what he got in terms of that transfer window. He deserves better than having Raheem Sterling on the bench at the moment, who he's not even bringing on. He probably deserves, and there's no disrespect to Moreno because he's a top player, he probably deserves a little bit higher class of a player who's going to give us a lot more years. He definitely deserves a left wing or a striker. So I'm not sure this is all at Arteta. I'm wondering if Arteta has succeeded in terms of what he's got at his disposal. There is flaws in his managerial game, definitely, and I think he needs to be a bit more kind of attack minded at times, especially when we are in situations. But I think a lot of this needs to be looked at Edu, who's obviously leaving now. People like Tim Lewis and the Kroenkes. Like, did he really get backed in the summer with the players that we should have brought in?
No. Sadly, we don't know, do we?
I haven't got a clue. Yeah,
we're all crying out for it. I mean, I remember me and you, Liam, messaging, "Oh yeah, what's going on with this? You know, the Sporting Lisbon lad. Yeah, it's all gone very quiet. He wasn't involved in the Euros. Yeah, we all knew what we wanted. It's very odd. I mean, whether it's FFP, I'd be surprised because, well, who knows? I mean, surely we won't get penalised for it. I mean, you know, the ticket prices have gone up. You know, the money must be there. They're, you know, back in the Champions League. You know, it's very odd. Unless they're doing some crazy thing in January. Obviously, with Edu leaving now, no one really knows what's going on.
Well, that's another one, isn't it, Andy? And I'll go to you, Andy. Obviously, we get the news this week. I think it was someone broke it to me, and I messaged Andy. He ain't messaged me, one or the other, and we was talking about it. And I had to think about it first because it was a little bit of a surprise for me when it came out. because I look, and I'll be totally honest again. My mindset now is that I'm really surprised by this. Like, it's happened when it's happened. I'm really surprised that it's happened quarter way through a season when Edu's been a big piece of it in terms of the uplift, in terms of obviously performances and getting the players in. I don't think we've had a poor summer overall, as I've just said. But I would have thought there'd have been a bit inside him that wanted to see the job through with Arteta and try and get some trophies on the board. Do you know what I mean? Like, where the objective, and money's maybe played a part in this, but apparently Arsenal tried to match it, so it seems like it was a job role. But I am quite surprised that he's left when he's left, Andy.
Yeah, I think it came as a surprise to everybody. Just something, it wasn't even whispered about in the media, I don't think. So yeah, I think we all woke up to a bit of a shock there. It's like with anything, you can look at the big picture and think, well, why would you want to leave us and go and work for this guy at Forest? And you know, that in itself is a huge step down from the prestige of being where he is at Arsenal and how he's perceived at Arsenal as well. Yeah. So it's a massive gamble on his part, but money talks, I guess. I've got no doubt the money's silly, and maybe he's followed that.
Very, very strange. I think it's just come out. No, he said, Andy, it's come out of nowhere. Like, even the media didn't know nothing about it. Nobody heard a couple of rumours. Oh, there's unrest. There's a boardroom struggle with the Cronkies and it. But it's been nothing. You've seen him in his club suit, tie, all smiles. No, and like you said, Liam, to leave now. I mean, not even like Christmas time. It's very, very odd. It's almost as if you think, well, only a couple of months ago it was the summer. Did he know then? Is that why he hasn't, made more signings?
Yeah,
you do wonder because the timing is very strange. It really is very odd.
Yeah, it is really odd, and it is a blow. And like, obviously, you've been in the football environment and all that. Does it affect the play? Does it affect the player morale? Is there a bit of unease in on players, like with a new guy coming in who's dealing with a lot of transfers and all that? Will that have an effect on Arteta, or do you think that it could have the first and they'll just continue to do what they need to do?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because it always appeared that Arteta had a phenomenal relationship with Edu. It always seemed like a really tight, and a really positive relationship for us. So how that's going to pan out now and how they're going to refigure it, I really don't know. So there might be an element for Arteta where he's lost a massive ally there, huge ally, and especially now that times are just a little bit rough. It's just took everyone by surprise. I think that's the biggest thing, and knowing where he's going to as well. I don't want to just belittle them teams, by the way, but being in his role at Arsenal Football Club is such a prestigious position, and seem to be esteemed in that position, and then choose to go and work for the guy at Forest.
Yeah, very odd. I guess he's going to be in charge of the two teams. Is it going to be a bigger role? He's hoping for a CEO job, isn't he? I think.
Yeah,
he won't get that ass, but it's just odd.
I think as well. Like when you think of a former player and Invincible and all that, like the fans are going to see it that way, aren't they? Like I'm seeing it that way. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably not seeing it like from his. I'm not going to see it from his perspective as such. But I like you say, with the teams he's going to and what he's coming and where he's coming from, I don't understand it personally. But he's obviously made his decision now. So it's going to be interesting how we kind of combat that over with the January transfer window as well. So what's going to be the situation around that in terms of managing that? Is that going to be Tim Lewis who's going to be dealing with all that? What we're going to do in terms of recruitment? I see a cheeky one tonight. I see one like going bring back Arsene Wenger in the sporting director role. That's something I wouldn't actually turn down. I'll tell you.
Yeah, that'd be a dream for a lot of people. That.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see how it kind of reacts. But first and foremost, we've got a big game Sunday, a London derby, it'll be under the lights because it's 4:30 at Stamford Bridge, which has been a good ground for us over the last few years. But let's be honest, Chelsea are probably looking to be playing as more of a team than I have seen them play over the last 2 to 3 years. I do think that they have got some good players. I do think it's going to be an hard game. Last year was hard. We probably were lucky to get away with a draw there. Well, we was absolutely lucky to get away with a draw there at the Bridge, being 2-0 down after 78 minutes. But we need to get it's yet again, it's a must win, isn't it? Like if Newcastle was a must win, this is a must win now. And if we don't win this game and Man City and Liverpool then go on and win again, are we saying, John, that pretty much the title's a distant dream now?
Well, yeah, if you think if we lose and Liverpool win, that's 10 points. Yeah, it's a big gap. Yeah, so early on. And we sort of got Liverpool away as well. I know we played a lot of the bigger sides away, but yeah, it's getting to that point already. I mean, a draw's not the worst result in the world, but yeah, depending on who, I didn't know Man City and Liverpool got this weekend, to be honest.
Liverpool got Villa, I know that.
Oh, yes, I have. Yeah, Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they could possibly drop a point there. Man City, I have no idea who they're playing.
Man City have got Brighton away.
Oh, yes, I have. Yeah, that's on the telly as well. I think
Yeah.
that's Saturday night. I think that's 5:30. I think it's before.
It's a cracking Saturday night, isn't it? By the way, it's a cracking Saturday night of football.
So yeah, I'll enjoy that more than I. But yes, I mean, like you said, it's been. I remember the years where we used to struggle there, but the last few years we've done well. I mean, give the Leicester manager his due, but Maresca, who come from there, has done a good job. Obviously, I know he's had a lot of players, but he seems to have settled on more or less a settled side. They're very good going forward. Not so good at the back. I think, again, last night, let's have a few more shots. Their keeper, Sanchez in goal, he's ropey.
He's the weak link.
He gifted us a goal last year. It was him in goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we've got to get at them and their defence because they're there to be got at. But yeah, I mean, Cole Palmer allegedly missed training yesterday. I don't know how true that is, mind you, but that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he didn't play. But yeah, I mean, we're all hoping that Odegaard's going to be playing in some sort of capacity. I presume he'll be on the bench because he said he's still obviously not played much on the grass.
Yeah.
But then he's got the rest of this week. So you never know. I'd love to see him start, but you're scared that he's going to rush him back too soon. But then it is international break afterwards. So I don't think he'll risk him. I mean, I'd love to see him Ranieri get a start, but he won't play him in that game, sadly. I mean, we have to win. I mean, if we can turn up, if we can get an early goal, I mean, that's obviously we haven't scored for a few games. You know, if Chelsea score early on, you worry. But then, of course, if we score early on, that could inspire us to go on, get a good win. But,
it disappoints me. It disappoints me, mate. Like, if Odegaard's not going to start on Sunday, play Ranieri. Play him. Like
and Declan Rice as well, by the way. We don't know if he's fit.
No, well, he was struggling to even get his boot on, wasn't he, yesterday? But
and he better not play Partey and right back again. Sorry.
I think Ben White will get that spot, won't he?
Yeah, you'd hope so, but you never know about it sometimes.
But why not throw him in Sunday, Andy? Ranieri. I know you've been a big advocate and said that he should have got a lot more game time. This is a big game, yeah, right? It's away from home, but sometimes, do you know what? I think the pressure's off when you play away from home. Just let him go out there, play his game. Let him start a game with two solid centre midfielders, which we will have, whether it's Moreno and Partey or Rice and Partey. Why can't this kid start Sunday? Like, it was only 2 years ago. We had Smith Rowe and then Eddie Nketiah playing there, and they were beating them 4-2. Why not play this guy?
It goes back. I've got the big thing with Arteta for me is this stubbornness, and I think that's where this stems from. Because for me, he's just got to be brave now and just go, right, Heath, you're going to play the next 10 games or whatever. Be brave enough to stick him in. We've all seen the little cameo roles, and the kid's so positive. He's got everything. He's not frightened. He was in Milan yesterday, and in the bit part that he played, he looked so comfortable. You think he'd been there for like 2 or 3 seasons. Chuck him in. Just let him go and play. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And he's still got time on his side anyway to kind of rebuild that. So, but
start him. If it don't work out, Odegaard can come on. It's a win-win, really.
Oh yeah, no, it's yeah. So I think we all three agree that I think the Trossard. I've always said like Trossard's okay to play at the Emirates in that role, but when you go away from home, you need someone tactically who knows that position, who plays that position. And let's be honest, that isn't Trossard's position at the end of the day. So even I'm critical of Trossard, I do feel a little bit for him. because I think he's getting put into a situation which he's not 100% comfortable in, which he wouldn't be, because he's always been like an attacking left wing player. He can play out front. So I mean, he can play in an off the striker role, but not in terms of that role, because we're like Odegaard. He does a lot more than just playing an advanced 10 role. He gives so much to that kind of centre midfield as well. And it was interesting. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he come on last night, Odegaard, for a couple of minutes, you just know the first touch, you just thought, well, Odegaard's on the pitch. And we just seemed a lot more smoother. And I know it's only a couple of minutes, but he's so good, Odegaard, in terms of what he does. But this youngster should be his number 2. No one else should be his number 2 now. He should be his number 2. And when Odegaard's not playing, play the kid. Play the kid. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? If he has like you said, if he has a bad game, you've got the resource on the pitch. But I don't think he's going to have a bad game. He's not going to go down there and let you down. No. He's not going to do that. Like what he did, I know it's only Preston again, but let's be honest. If he hit that shot against Sanchez ain't saving that. If he could hit that shot against Alisson, he could have hit that shot against Edison. No goalkeeper is saving that shot he had. And what he's really good at, one area, which we're struggling with at the moment, is breaking into the box. He's really good at getting into the box at the right time. And he offers another option. And I felt that was a big problem last night, that we just weren't getting people into the box.
He's really good at taking people on as well. You know, look at Martinelli's really struggling, bless him. But, I mean, just that turn he did yesterday, just turn, see you later, off he went. It's like, the fearlessness of youth. And it's great. You know, you encourage that. That's what you want to see.
The thing is that when you think about it, there's a lad at Barcelona, Yamal, who's, was he 17? Is he 16? He's been on the scene for the last 2 years because they were brave enough to just put him in there. At the end of the day, he'll sink or swim. But we all know in the bits that we've seen that Waneri, the kid's going to be phenomenal. So just throw him in. Yeah. We're playing that poorly at the moment. What harm will it do to throw the kid in who's got no fear? You know, he's not got the experience enough yet to have any fear, really. Yeah. You know, and he's a bit of an unknown quantity to the opposition. You know, that it'll surprise them as well. Just throw him in. The stubbornness of Arteta will be his undoing if he's not careful.
Well, he did it with Saka when he was 17. You know, what's the difference? You know, they know it can work. But
they talk about we've got to manage it carefully. Well, you've got to start by playing him then, surely.
We ain't got time to be careful now. We've got to kick on.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating.
Interesting, guys. Just to butt in there before we go back to the Chelsea game. David Ornstein has come out today. And obviously, Edu bid farewell to Arsenal in a gathering of players at staff in training on Tuesday. 46-year-old to serve a 6-month notice period on gardening leave. And Jason Ato steps up on an interim basis while Arsenal conducts a process to secure their permanent successor. Well, that we know.
So you said Edu was put on a 6-month gardening leave?
He's been put on a 6-month gardening leave.
Oh, that's weird.
Very nice too.
What? That's very strange.
Mate, but you can understand why. Because if he's got to do the 6-month notice, which is in his contract,
so that will start next season. Okay.
And he's directly going to another Premier League club. Would you want him conducting your transfers in January?
Again, that just makes no sense for him to leave now. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it potentially does because it's November. He's put 6 months in, so he can start with him back at the end of the season. So I think this has been quite thought out.
Had a right result.
Yeah, I think it's been quite thought out. I think it's been really thought out. This has in terms of when that resignation goes in.
Who's taking over?
Jason Ato.
Who?
Ato. So he must be. No idea myself, mate. But he's in the club and he's going to be stepping up on an interim basis while Arsenal conduct a process.
If he can buy me a striker, I'll love him. Don't get me Victor.
But we know with Arsenal's recruitment process, and we're seeing with the Arteta and the women's manager, we'll probably hear this midway through next year. Who's going to take over?
Yeah.
But yeah, just gonna go back to the Chelsea game. Are you confident Sunday, Andy, that we can get the right result?
Yeah, I am confident. But my big issue at the moment, and you just touched on it before, I just want to try and get this in now, but the problem that I think we've got at the moment is we've had all these plaudits for the last 2 seasons about how defensively sound we are, and we are. Last season, we were talking about, we were putting like match-saving tackles in and celebrating it like it was a goal. We've almost got that mindset can sometimes psychologically just sit in. So sometimes you go 1-up, and how many times you watch us now and we'll just then drop. Where you want us to go at teams and just go and put them to bed, we'll just drop into a retreat, and it's almost like a psychological process because that's the comfort zone. Or we're good at defending, but it's been our undoing though this season because we're conceding a few goals now.
Yeah,
and I just think that maybe that mindset just needs to shift. We need to be much more positive, right across the board. That is as well. We're such a regimented team at the moment. There's no spontaneity anymore. There's no like little bits of class or magic because Odegaard's not there at the moment. But there's nothing that's different. I can almost tell you where the next pass will go to.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it so much now, and because we've been found out, and teams just sit in that low block with that shape. I mean, you look at the shape that the Italians had last night. It was unbelievable. It's like a defensive masterclass. But ultimately, they know that if they just drop into that shape, we can't undo teams. And I just want us to almost like release, give them a bit of a sense of freedom. Declan Rice has become the safest footballer ever. The amount of times we watch him go side to side, and I get that sometimes switching play is all well and good, but he's a great passer of the ball. He's a great striker of the ball. Why can't he go and try and play defensive passes? And it doesn't come off, but let's be positive. We're too happy to go square until there's a picture in front of us that we do in training, so everyone's in their positions, and then we'll try something. But there's no spontaneity. There's no instant bits of brilliance that you see across the pitch. It's become it's such a robotic way of playing. Yeah. We're quite a turgid watch now. I find it was incredibly boring to watch because I've watched it that much now. I know what's going to happen. Yeah. I know where it's going to go. And you can get the feel for this in the first 10 minutes. You can just get a feel for how we're going to be. And we're going through a longer blip than what we did last season, but we went through a blip, and let's hope we can just. This could be the game on Sunday that maybe kickstarts us a little bit, but let's just start being a bit more positive, especially the midfield guys. Thomas Partey's the only one that's willing almost to pass the ball forward at the moment. There's no one else trying to break lines, and it's the only way to play these days. And we're just so safe. We just become a safe team. Just more positivity, not just that reliance on Saka. The poor kid, honestly, we're so heavily reliant on Saka producing something. Because there's nobody else out there that can do anything. Yeah. Whereas he, with his numbers, we just know there's just one bit in the game, and we're so reliant on him. But yet, there's too many good players not playing well enough at the moment. And that's all of these things together is what's making us a real tough watch at the moment. There was signs against Milan that things were starting to tick again. There was a few moves that were really good. Some of the movement was great. So hopefully that. Maybe them few bits can just maybe kick-start us because it's going to take, a big performance on Sunday because Chelsea are going to fancy it. They're going to really fancy the chances. In fact, if you went to a Chelsea fan now, they'd expect to beat us. Yeah. So it's a huge opportunity for us to show to everybody we're going nowhere. It's a long season. It's only November. We're back in it. So they can put a statement out because they need to now because there's too many ordinary performances.
No, yeah, everything you're saying there is pretty bang on. Like in terms of obviously the style of play, like you say, it's become so predictable that like even yesterday, you just know that we're gonna get to the edge of the box, we're gonna pull the ball back, and then we're gonna have a fullback. It's probably gonna come and support and cross the ball in, and then it's gonna be cleared out. And it was just all that repetitive play. Do you know what I mean? Because as you said, all the build up. And some of the play and the domination yesterday, it was all there, wasn't it? It was all there. And it just takes me back to and I think you said something before the show, Andy. It takes me back to when we was battering teams last year. When we went to West Ham and beat them 6-0. We went to Sheffield United. I know they're not the biggest teams. West Ham were a big side, good side. Sheffield United, Burnley. There was a run there, wasn't there, about 5-6 games where I watched us, right? And I thought, do you know what? I've never seen us play this way. We literally made teams like we pressured them to the point of their box where they weren't getting out. They were suffocated. And that's totally gone from us. That's totally gone from us. And I think we was only producing that 6 to 8 months ago, that kind of style of performance. And I was watching it, I was thinking, I've never seen us play this kind of football to this extent that we're doing it the whole game. The teams are not even getting out their own half. And it's just disappointing. Like, it is disappointing in terms of how we've kind of dropped that level. And we've totally gone from being that team to being a team that's just totally safe now, doesn't want to take risks, and like no one wants to get in the box. No one wants to get in the box. Everyone wants to be the player who delivers the ball in the box for me. And you can't win games like that. You're making it easy. When you're playing an Italian side, like you said, Andy, that's their bread and butter. You putting balls in a box like that is their bread and butter. And like I said, we could have been sitting there till the cows come home, and they would have just headed every single ball out. But Chelsea is a different game. It is a London derby, and I think it's the kind of game that we need. I do think it's the kind of game we need, and it's a must-win for me. I'd like a draw. Don't even cut it for me. And now, like the results that we've got against Brightons, the Bournemouths, the Newcastles have made it a must-win now, and we need to go into the international break with quite a bit, well, at least something to look forward to the other side, because that's going to be a long. If we don't get the result on Sunday, it's going to be a long 2 weeks.
Depressing 2 weeks.
And we all know what I'm glad I'm not even on it at the moment, but we all know what we're going to hear in terms of social media and all that. And there's going to be a lot of negativity. Edu's gone. We haven't won a Premier League game by that point in this whole international piece that from the October to November. It's going to be quite a bad time if we don't get the result Sunday. And we need to go and get the result at end of. And like you said, Andy, I think we have to go to Chelsea and attack them. Like, that's what we need to do on Sunday. We need to go there with confidence that we're gonna score goals. And like you said, and I agree with you, John, defensively not great. The goalkeeper is their weak link. So you want to be sticking balls on that goalkeeper all day long, mate.
Shooting all day long. A few little early pot shots, mate.
Press him. That he's suspect to a press as well. So maybe Odegaard might start Sunday, because
well, you were saying earlier he's a ruthless pressing machine, and
that's something we miss massively.
Yes, absolutely. No one else seems to do it when he's not there. It's ridiculous. But he don't stop running. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
It would be a key piece, but do I think he'll start? No, and because he doesn't start, I think we need to go down the EFAM road and give him the opportunity personally. But we'll wait and see on that. Just obviously my last kind of couple of questions for tonight. I'm going to go to Andy on this one. Obviously in terms of the striking situation at the moment, Havertz, Jesus. Do you see any development from Jesus at the moment? Do you see anything that he thinks he can come back to anything like he was when he first signed for us?
No, I don't know. I think ultimately people like Jesus, Zinchenko, as sad as it may sound, have actually served their purpose. That sounds really bad, but they did help us go from where Arteta had kind of got us to, and they've helped us kick on over the last couple of seasons. But you can see now when the sharpness has gone from Jesus, and because he's not playing, that match sharpness is very difficult to come by. You can't do it through training. You need minutes on the pitch, but then minutes aren't coming, so it's a tough one for Jesus, definitely at the moment. But Zinchenko, I wouldn't play him. I would never play him again. It looks like he doesn't care. The amount of times he gives the ball away in silly positions, he's defensively weak, and I think he's quite. I've always talked about the mentality at Arsenal, like the kind of mentality monsters, and that's what Arteta's kind of filled the squad with. I don't see him as that, and some of his passing against, was it Newcastle when he came on? Later on, was it Liverpool? I can't remember now, but it was just so sloppy and lapsadaisical, and I just think there's players that. Play Miles Lewis-Skelly. I know he's out of position at left back, but I'd rather play him at left back, who wants to die for the club, than someone who just seems to be going through the motions for us.
Yeah. I'm the same with Zinchenko. I think like I didn't see what was the point of bringing him on. I think the only point of him bringing him on last night was to not give Timber the 93 minutes and maybe pull something and then be out of Chelsea game. I think that's probably the mindset, but. for me, like you said, Zinchenko served his purpose. Like I feel with Zinchenko, he's that kind of player, right, that needs to be involved in everything and be around. He needs to be like when he first come in, he was really that man, weren't he? Who
well, he was the inverted fullback, wasn't he? He was like, that's why they brought him in, because that's what he wanted to play.
Yeah.
So he came in and he was phenomenal in that role because but ultimately the team outgrew him.
Yeah.
So it served his purpose though. He kind of that's how Arteta wanted to play, and so the kind of the system and the styles of play were there. But ultimately, he done well in that first season, but that's literally all he's contributed to us. And I think for me, I genuinely don't think he cares.
Well, that's the thing.
My heart when I watch us play.
That's the thing, mate. I think he's the kind of player, right, that can actually become a bit of a naughty egg to have around the camp when he's not really involved. And it was just that piece. There was a piece, wasn't it? He was on the bench at the start of the season. Something I think it was not major, but it was something little in terms of him. So, like, I think he was fuming, weren't he? But I sat there and I thought, you've only got yourself to blame, mate. Like the amount of times that you switched off last year and the year before, like I'd always go back to the one at Chelsea when we beat them 3-1 and was 3-0 up, and he totally switched off, but he didn't even make an attempt to go back. And I just felt with him, right, that at that point I was thinking, you're going to let us down more often than not, and that's what he does. He lets you down. He loses concentration. He's renowned for back end of games. So even the Wolves game when we beat him 2-1, switched off again. Nottingham Forest away, we was winning 2-0 again, switched off. He's made games really difficult for ourselves in the last few minutes because he switches off. And I just think with him, and I know it sounds a bit ruthless, I think the sooner we get rid of him, probably the better. And I know that's not a nice thing to say because I think that he has had some good moments, but I just think with him, I don't think he'll be happy in terms of what he's being utilised for and used for. And I think there's definitely options there we can use. But then we're stuck on the other side of it where we have a lot of injuries, don't we, in terms of the fullbacks? It seems to be our Achilles heel. Even Kieran Tierney, he's apparently on his way back as well. But whether we use him or not is another question. I wouldn't have thought so.
I don't think he would.
No, I don't think he would. But I think he probably could have done with him a few times at the start of this season, though, couldn't he? With the fullbacks.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, and obviously my last one, I'm going to go to you, John. I know you've just already said it about Thomas Partey. Has to play centre mid for me. Can't be playing right back. He had a game against Liverpool, but I just think he's a key piece to us. And I think when we had Partey and Rice in the team, we weren't losing games in that centre midfield.
No, I just don't get it. He did this last season. I think it was Brighton at home one game. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's a centre mid. It just doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't play Saka centre half if we need to play him there. I don't know. Bless him, he plays there. I don't know why he doesn't have a moan. Obviously, he wants to play, but it just doesn't make any sense. As I said, he's centre mid. We're all rejoicing the fact he's fit. So let's play him in his right position. We've got plenty of fullbacks. I know there's a few injuries, but I said Miles Skelly could play there. It's just giving unnecessary reason for people to moan and aim more criticism at Arteta. Just doesn't make any sense. We can't afford any really silly mistakes now. So just play the players in the position they're meant to be in. It's all of us the basics. He's fit. So just play him in his right position. And everyone's moaning, I want to get 5 games out of him, and he's been the most consistent I can remember. To be fair, I know he's made a few mistakes, but it's playing out of position. They said against Liverpool, he did all right.
He's more likely to get injured at Ezo. He's playing fullback than centre
midfield. Exactly.
Chasing a winger.
And it's always going to be a mistake waiting to happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Thomas Partey, for me, should never be taken out of centre midfield. Like, there has to be options. I'll always go back that you don't see no other team take out their best centre midfielder and play them fullback. And for some reason, this is not a new thing with Arteta. He used to do the same thing with a Xhaka at left back. Just play him centre mid, mate. That's where the game's won or lost. Just play him centre mid, and then you got to have right backs. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely players that can play in that position. Like, even if it means someone gets kind of slightly paid that position, but
even more so if Declan Rice isn't fit. You know what I mean? Imagine that, Declan Rice isn't in the squad and he plays Party right back.
Do you feel we missed Rice yesterday?
Yes and no. I mean, being rude, didn't really notice he was there or not. I mean, we coached well enough without him. I mean, he wasn't the problem. Even if he played, it probably would have been the same result. Because, it was the attacking bit that we really lacked. Then he might have popped out of a goal, but he probably wouldn't have done. So, I mean, you'd like to think he'd be back Sunday. I mean, he was training on his own, which is better than not doing anything at all. So you think he'd be all right, and it might be a little nudge in the older England managers. But give Rice a couple of weeks off because he'll play otherwise. So fingers crossed it's that, and he's playing on Sunday.
Well, hopefully we can keep Rice back, and we can keep Odegaard back as well. Get that.
Mate, honestly, that's the worry, isn't it? He can't play as well against Chelsea, and other Sundays in the Norway squad. I know Partey hasn't gone; he's not been picked for Ghana. There's some sort of understanding, so that's good. So you don't think, sure, it's just a joke.
I don't think, I don't think there's any chance of Odegaard going for that. It'd be absolute ludicrous for that. But yeah, I do think that looking at that centre midfield, I think once you get Partey, Rice, and Odegaard back in there, I think the good times will potentially roll again. But I think we need to build a lot of confidence within all the players and the style of play that we play, and get back to where we was at the start of the year, where we was absolutely suffocating teams, because we have got the capability to do that. And we have got the players to do that, and we have got a good squad. Like, when everyone's fit, we've got a very, very good squad. So I think you're right. Like, in terms of what you're saying, Andy's saying, like, the manager needs to look at himself a little bit and not be so maybe not being totally negative, but you know what I mean? Be a bit more positive in terms of the approach at times. Like, when things ain't going right, like if I know it sounds stupid, but even with a red card, the team's better than what we're trying to set up to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we want to win titles, we need to have the mentality of Man City. You're only going to beat Man City by having the mentality of them, or better mentality of them. And us trying to sit 10 men behind the ball, for me, is not having the Man City mentality. So I think the manager does need to be a bit more kind of proactive in terms of his approach, and kind of bring the best out of certain players, because I think we're much
just be less stubborn.
Yeah.
Take Trossard out the team.
Yeah.
Stop persevering. It's not working. So get somebody else in that role. Give someone an opportunity to go and affect a game, because Trossard is not doing anything for us at the moment. And literally, that's not even the closing down. The whole shape when we're closing down, it's a bit of a mess at the moment. So that's not really working. He does work hard, which is, he puts a shift in, but that's the least you'd expect from somebody. But he's not affecting games. He'll only ever be a phenomenal explosive substitute, like an impact sub. That's when he's at his best.
Yeah.
Ask him to start a game for the 90 minutes. Can we recall a game when he's when he's had a great game from start to finish, 90 minutes? I can't recall that, but I could tell you all the times when he's come off the bench and absolutely turned games on its head. Yeah. So, and
Chelsea,
it's not working. So
Chelsea
get him out.
Game,
put one area in. Just put one area in his position. Let him go and play. Be brave. No. Stop sticking with the same, because if Declan Rice is fit at the weekend, that's great. But he's been poor. Let's just say it as it is. He's a £100 million signing, and he's been bang average. There's no two ways about it. Whether he's not fully fit or not, I don't know. But right now, he's not playing very well. And we'd expect a lot more from £100 million. So someone needs to come out and say it. He's not performing, and he needs to, because he's the one that can drag players forward. We talked about the girls' players and all that kind of stuff. He's one of them. He'll drag them forwards, but he needs to start performing himself. He's been really poor this season.
Do you think, Andy, with the Declan Rice, is an interesting topic there just discuss. Do you think that he basically kind of needs to, the armband as such to kind, because I've been a bit disappointed in terms of the leadership side of him a little bit at times this season. But like, it's not that he's not bothered, because he is bothered, but what I thought we was getting out of him, he was like the next big leader, weren't he? He's like the next England captain, and for me, he could be an Arsenal captain and all that kind of stuff. But I feel that he hasn't, like you said, he's one of them that should be digging out players more, and demanding more and expecting more. And we don't see what happens on the training pitch and in the tunnel and all that kind of stuff, and in the dressing rooms. But I don't feel there's something right with him, and I don't know. Like you said, is it because he's not fully fit? There is a slight concern that might be the case. Has he been fully fit? As the whole last season with Arsenal and England, because he did carry Arsenal and England for quite a bit in terms of that centre midfielder known, as that kind of played a part, and he's absolutely knackered. And he hasn't really had a break, has he? Because he come back within 2 weeks of the Euros, but it's like he needs the captain's armband to be the captain. And I thought that he was better, and I thought that he would fly. Like, I do think he should be a future captain for Arsenal, definitely. And to be honest, I thought he would get the armband, like in terms of being number 2 or number 3 sooner than he has. But he's decided to obviously go down the Saka and Jesus route. Don't really agree with Jesus whatsoever at the moment, but do we think that Declan Rice is not fulfilling everything he can fulfill in that leadership role at the moment?
Well, he's not fulfilling it at the moment, no, at all. And I think if you could sit down and talk to him, he'd admitted himself. It's probably the worst spell he's had in his career. But, you know, it's come at a time where we need him firing on all cylinders to go at teams, you know, because he can be the difference in games, but he's not affecting games like he was last season. So I don't know whether it's, if you were to ask me, my personal opinion is he must be playing with an injury, because he's not. Yeah. He doesn't look as sharp as explosive as what he was, and he has become a very safe footballer. There's been little glimpses this season when he kind of goes up a little level and he gets a couple of tackles in, but then that kind of stops and it goes back to side again. And I just think there's a lot more we can expect from him, because I look at Caicedo at Chelsea now.
Yeah,
the guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable. So, you know, he had a rocky start to his life there, but he's come through leaps and bounds, and he's cost them similar amounts of money, and they're getting value for money. Right now, we're not getting that. That's not just Declan Rice, by the way. There's a few that are just not on their game at the moment. And we've got people not fully fit because they've either been injured or they're coming back or whatever. So there's a lot of things at the moment that's not quite kind of falling for us. But fundamentally, we need our big players to start playing, because we're getting left behind if we're not careful. You watched Liverpool last night blow away Leverkusen. We couldn't, at this moment in time, we couldn't come anywhere near that level of performance and energy and spirit, pace, power, the lot. Everyone, the togetherness, the bond between the crowd and the players. It's just become. We need a big performance to start that again, because we've worked so hard to kind of bring the atmosphere around the place has been amazing for the last 2.5, 3 years, but it's just starting to show up cracks now. And for various reasons, but it's going to take a few big personalities and big players to roll up the sleeves and start to drag us forward again.
Yeah. Just last questions for you, John. Anything you want to add on that?
No, I completely agree with everything you said. I mean, I think Declan Rice's only good game this year was the PSG home game, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just looks a bit like he's going for the motions. As Andrew said, I think he probably did have some sort of injury, and all of a sudden that's why it's come out early in the week. But yeah, there's quite a few players in that team, and they got to kick up the arse. So
yeah,
you know, they need to sort it out. Sharpish, starting with Sunday, no better way to get everyone back on side. A nice little win over there. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I suppose the other thing was I thought Saliba looked good again last night. Looked really comfortable, didn't he? Like, just want to put a little mention out for him, because like there was a couple of times. Yeah, because he's had a bit. I think he had a bit of a dodgy spell, didn't he, in the international break with France, and then he come back, and even that Brentford game, he just didn't look right to me. And I think this is the problem with the players at the moment. And I could tell it with Arteta the other day, and then it all come out about Edu. I kept barking on about the Waneri goal. Like, for me, when Waneri scored that goal, Arteta should have been like, if it was Arsene Wenger, he'd have been loving that, wouldn't he? He'd have been loving that. A youngster had gone and done that, and he would have been like, he would have shown emotion. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think there's anything wrong with showing emotion. But when Waneri scored that goal, Arteta's just got his hands in his pockets, like. It's like someone's just mugged his family or something. Do you know what I mean? It was just I don't know, and I just feel at the moment there's just an unease there, and people they don't seem their bubbly self, and that goes down to him as well. And I think the questions are now coming out why he's like that, potentially with the Edu news. But this is an unforgiving world, the Premier League and the Champions League.
A lot of pressure on us this year. Everyone's expecting us to win the league now, after last year's near miss, if you will. And I don't think some of the players are coping with it at all, sadly. I think, it's showing. They know they can't really afford to lose any more games. And it's showing. Yeah.
It's just that it's an unforgiving world, isn't it? And you can't feel sorry for yourself, because the moment you start feeling sorry for yourself, you're on a downward spiral. So we need a massive performance Sunday. We need to go to Chelsea. We need to pick up the 3 points and then look forward to, after the international break, because Nottingham Forest coming to the Emirates. That ain't going to be an easy game now.
No way.
They're playing well, and there's going to be a little bit about that now with the news around there doing all that. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Some very big games coming up. Man United at home.
It was like I was sat. Sorry, I keep going on, but it's like I was sat with Ryan the other night. It's harder I honestly believe it's harder for us to win the league than Man City, because I look at the fixtures coming up after the break, and we've got Fulham away and West Ham away. Now, if you look at Man City going there, you think, they're just going to roll them over, because there's not really nothing in it. But when we're playing Fulham and the West Hams of this world, it's a London derby. Do you know what I mean? Everyone wants to win it, and everyone wants to beat us because we're that London club. And I do think there's that part of it that it is much harder for us. We have to step it's much harder for us to go and win games. Where I just feel that Man City's big rivals are Liverpool, Man United, and
Aye.
Oh, was he froze?
You there, Liam? must be freezing out there in his bar.
Yeah. Bless him.
Put the heat on.
Enjoy a peace and quiet.
That's it,
I've been waiting about 23 years for this.
It's been the best part of the show. This.
He's gone. There you go. Yeah. He's come back. Here he is.
Left us.
No, sorry guys. No.
I'll be
games coming up. And
he's a tease, isn't he? Oh, he's still there. He come back to us.
Is he holding the pause, or is that on for all?
Yeah, he's playing with us.
Yeah.
At least he's smiling. There you go. Picture of beauty.
Yeah. What's going on there?
I don't know, yeah. Bless him. It must be freezing outside, bless him.
Absolutely. I got the game at the weekend.
No, I've been watching it on shouting at Gary Neville on the telly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He still thinks we're going to win the league, bless him. I don't know what he's on.
Yeah.
The other day interview, he said, people are going to think I'm mad, but I still think we're going to win the league. So, okay. I'm glad he's got more confidence than I have. Yeah.
That was a strange one. Yeah, when he commentates in our games, he does nothing but kind of go at us.
No, but he did that in the Man United Chelsea game the other day. I've got friends that are Man United fans, and they were getting annoyed with him because he just goes on and on and on, doesn't he? But
yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what he does when the new man takes over. Everyone's expecting him to be amazing, but he's still going to have the same players. I can't.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah.
He's still got to deal with Anthony. So, yeah, I can't see him doing much for him.
Yeah. Do you think Liam's gone for good here?
I don't know. I presume he's frantically trying to get back. Yeah, I don't know.
I hope people aren't sat listening to us too, having a bit of a chin wag.
That's all right. Could be worse. So just flashed out how Chelsea won 8-0 in the end tonight.
8-0 was it? Man U
Yeah,
have just won. They've just won 2-0.
2-0, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Against the mighty, is it PAOK Salonika?
How? Yeah.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. Oh, they seem happy with themselves. It's a massive win for Man U, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's the first win in the competition, isn't it, for them?
I think it is actually. Yeah. They've had a really poor start, haven't they?
Nah, dreadful, isn't it? Oh, well. So when's that new man take over? Is it next week? Or is it after it? Because I know he said goodbye to Sporting Lisbon, didn't he, the other night?
Yeah, and it's after the international break.
Is it?
He comes in around then, I think. That'd be interesting.
We got them early December when we were home to them midweek.
Yeah. Interesting that one, isn't it? Going to Man U and your last game in charge of your club team, you smash Man City 4-1.
You're a hero.
Thrown back in his face so much by our media when things start to go a bit pear-shaped at Man U.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's still got the same players. I mean, I presume they'll throw money at him like I did with the last managers, but he's still got all the other players there. So the only worry is he takes that. I can never say his name. Here he is. Yeah, so I know he takes him with him. That's the one worry.
Sorry, guys. Absolute nightmare. On that note, I'm ending the show. Firstly, obviously, thank you, Andy, for coming on yet again, mate. Always a pleasure.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
No worries, mate. And John, good to get you on, mate. Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome, mate. You go back in the wall.
And as Scotty said, glad Liam has finally shut up. There's always a bonus, guys. There's always a bonus. But yeah, obviously, thank you to everyone who's been in the chat. Obviously, some great kind of chat in terms of the chat. So thank you very much. And obviously, some really good topics tonight. So yeah, it's been a really tough week. We go to Chelsea Sunday. They've beaten the Arc today. I think 8-0. So
yeah, 8-0.
Yeah, 8-0. So hopefully they've used all their goals up, guys. Have a good evening.
Good night. All right, take care. Good night.
See you later. Bye.